What's going on, guys? Ryan O'Toole back here again, giving you guys another ranking. With the release of Tolkien, the new biographical film about the author J.r.r. Tolkien, the man who wrote the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit movies, I figured in celebration for the release of that film and J.r.r. Tolkien, since that film's about him, I would give you guys my ranking for all 6 Middle-earth movies. That is the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy, from worst to best. I've been excited to share you guys my Middle-earth ranking, and I'm sure you guys are excited to share your rankings of the Middle-earth films. So what I want you guys to do down below in the comment section is to let me know your ranking for all the Middle-earth movies, and let me know your thoughts and opinions on them down below, and let's have a great discussion. Keep in mind, guys, this list is completely subjective. These are just my personal opinions, of course, and please don't get offended by it. It's just my opinion, guys. We all have different loves and tastes in film. So coming all the way down at the bottom at number 6 is going to be The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies, the conclusion to the Hobbit trilogy, which came out in 2014. I thought it was okay. I didn't really get the hate for it. I thought it was pretty good, but not perfect. I thought all the performances in the film were really good, first of all. Martin Freeman as Bilbo Baggins, I've praised him beyond belief. I think he was really good as Bilbo in here. Really, the problem with The Hobbit of the Battle of the Five Armies is that it was really rushed. This movie was only 2 hours and 24 minutes. That's the shortest Middle-earth film. Really, Peter Jackson had no time to really come up with a good script for this movie. I think that was the main issue. He didn't have enough time to really put his time and effort into making a great conclusion to the Hobbit trilogy. But still, I thought the performances were great. Martin Freeman, Ian McKellen as Gandalf is easily one of the best parts of the Hobbit trilogy. Ian McKellen's great, and all the other things about the film is so epic. And then you have Richard Armitage as Thorin Oakenshield, this really stubborn king who really wants to rule everything. He's so overconfident, but in here he's just extremely unlikable for the first half of this movie. He's like brainwashed or something. His character is just really insane, but really his character has a final arc, and spoilers for all of these guys. Once Thorin dies, I didn't feel that emotional impact like I did with the Lord of the Rings films, but still, all in all, the action sequences in Battle of the Five Armies are epic. I thought the final battle was really cool to watch. Really CGI heavy, but still, I enjoyed this film, but I didn't love it. Coming in at number 5 is going to be The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, the first film in the Hobbit trilogy. This movie, again, it's a lot of fun. It's enjoyable. This movie introduced a great world of the Hobbit trilogy and introducing the story of Bilbo Baggins, Martin Freeman. If you were to ask me who I like more, Bilbo or Frodo, definitely Bilbo, because Bilbo gets involved in the action. I really loved Martin Freeman's performance in the whole Hobbit trilogy. Ian McKellen is great. The first 45 minutes, we get to spend time with Bilbo and Baggin. And all the stuff on the Shire is really good, and I love the scene where all the dwarves are invading Bilbo's house just to eat dinner and all that. He's taking all his food and eating all of it. That's definitely great character moments. And then we get introduced to Thorin Oakenshield. This was the film where he really doesn't like Bilbo at all. He has to take a lot to get along with each other. And then the film loses its pace. It loses its heart. And that's where the film really drags down for me, the second and third act. We get to Lee Pace and the elves, and I just don't care. I just want more of the fun character moments, just like at the Shire with the little D. That's what I liked about The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey. There's this one scene involving these rocks, which I thought was really well done. But once we get to the elves, I just get bored. But still, The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, it's a lot of fun, but still not great. Coming in at number 4 is going to be the best film, The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. This is the best film in the Hobbit trilogy, in my opinion. I think this is the darkest, the most fun, the most action-packed of the Hobbit trilogy. And this is the film where we really get to see Bilbo Baggins get involved in the action. The final act where he goes down and comes across Smaug, the dragon, voiced by Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch as Smaug is fantastic. I mean, Cumberbatch brings that intensity to his voice. Like, when we first see Smaug, the visual effects are so good. This is where we get to love Thorin as well, and I felt really satisfied by the final act where he and Bilbo do hug and finally get along. And this movie had a lot of fun stuff. We get to see Orlando Bloom back as Legolas as well, since this is a prequel, and we get introduced to Evangeline Lilly as Tariel and the romance. Luke Evans is also in the movie. Hey, he's there. I really liked all the stuff in Lake Town. Lake Town's one of my favorite worlds of Middle-earth. Like, all that was really good. Coming in at number 3 is Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers, the second film in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. This is a really great sequel. I really like Two Towers. It is a little overhyped, and it does feel like the slowest paced of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. I really like how this film was split into different groups. We got, of course, Frodo and Sam going with Gollum, my precious. My favorite character in the Lord of the Rings trilogy is Gollum, played by Andy Serkis. Gollum's so damn good in this movie. He's so mischievous. The scene where he's just talking to his different personalities like, no, we mustn't. Yes, we must. The mothers. Then we get, of course, Aragorn, Legolas, and the other group, Gimli as well. I love Gimli. We'll talk about him in Fellowship, but the biggest issue I had with Two Towers and why I don't love it is that Gandalf is in this film for about 15 minutes, but we do get an epic moment where he's Gandalf the White. Honestly, the stuff with Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli was probably the weakest aspect, because we didn't get Gandalf with them, because when Gandalf finally does show up, it's epic when he becomes Gandalf the White, but we didn't really get that epic moments. I know everybody picks Merry and Pippin with the Ents. The Ents, the trees. They're Groot's ancestors. Yeah, that was definitely weak, but I really wanted more action. I really like Saruman in the film as well. Christopher Lee's so good. Like, the Isengard spots were really good. And of course, Helm's Deep battle. One of the best battle sequences ever in Lord of the Rings. Top 2, coming in number 2 is Lord of the Rings: The Fellowship of the Ring. We get introduced to the world of Middle-earth. In the first 50 minutes of the movie is character development, just like in An Unexpected Journey. Frodo Baggins, played by Elijah Wood. I don't love Frodo as a character just because his character is really weak. His character has to be saved by many people, including Sam and Gandalf and Aragorn in this movie. I can understand why, because the ring is totally attached to Frodo and all that. I just wanted to see more badass Frodo. I love the Hobbits. I love Sam. He's probably my favorite of the Hobbits. And Merry and Pippin are great too. And we get introduced to the Fellowship of the Ring. Aragorn is top 3 Lord of the Rings characters. Viggo Mortensen is so good as Aragorn. Legolas, Orlando Bloom, great. Gimli has some of the funniest lines in this movie. Nobody tosses a dwarf. Rah! I love Gimli. He's so funny. And then, of course, Gandalf, Ian McKellen. The final act, of course, with the Balrog. You shall not pass! So epic. Fellowship of the Ring, it's a really long movie, but it feels like 2 hours. It's that good. And my number 1 favorite film of the Middle-earth franchise is Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Return of the King's an absolute masterpiece. This is a 3-hour and 20-minute long epic film. Peter Jackson, Oscar well deserved. The final conclusions you have to build for each character. My favorite was Aragorn in this movie. Aragorn returns to Gondor, Minas Tirith, beautiful world. And then Aragorn has some of the best moments in this movie by far. His action sequences are great, and then his final speech as well when they're fighting at the gates. Blood shall be sped, blah blah blah. You guys know that speech, so epic. The Battle of Minas Tirith, what an epic action sequence. I mean, Minas Tirith, this big land of kings, and the action's great in this movie. And then it's so good. Like, this movie's so long and there's so many epic parts to it. But what I love the most about Return of the King, it gets right to the story. It gets right to those moments we've all been waiting for. Frodo bringing the ring up to Mount Doom to destroy the ring and all that. And destroy Sauron. This has some of the most emotional final 45 minutes ever put to cinema. Sam's just bringing and carrying Frodo up to Mount Doom, and he's like, I'm not leaving without you, Mr. Frodo. You're not gonna give up. And then Howard Shore's score, incredible. And then Gollum in this movie, Andy Serkis should have got nominated for an Oscar. What the hell? Frodo leaves Middle-earth. It's so freaking sad at the end. It's so good. It's so sad. You're so invested with all these characters, man. It's so good. And then, of course, Aragorn becoming King of Gondor. Return of the King definitely deserved Best Picture of 2003. It's my favorite film of 2003. And it's hands down my favorite Middle-earth film. There you have it, guys. That was my personal ranking for all 6 Middle-earth films. So in that comment section down below, you guys gotta let me know what your favorite film in the Middle-earth saga is. Do you agree with my list? Disagree with my list? Let me know down below. Thank you guys as always for watching this ranking, and if you guys liked it, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe today for more content. All my social media links are in the description down below. Click that notification bell on your way out, and I will see you guys in the next video.